Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are excited. I'm assuming that's the reason why you clicked on this video. This was a very long, actually a long but short process. We had about 5 days into this build with about 14-hour days, busting butt non-stop to get this done as quick as possible, but you know, still do it the right way. Everything is reinforced, as you guys will see. I will be later on doing a build series on either another LS or a separate platform, so drop a thumbs up or comment down below if you guys are excited for that. Maybe give me an idea on a platform to pick up. Before we start though, I do want to give a huge shout out to Welding for allowing me to actually throw the car and leave the car on the lift for about 5 days. He helped me out over there with a lot of stuff, and we really put in work. So I will leave a link down below. You guys go show some love and give him a follow on Instagram, or right here you guys can search it up and yeah, show some love. Honestly, if anybody in Orlando, anybody in general want to get some fab work done or whatever, that is the shop to go to, or hit me up and I will get you guys right. So let's hop right into this video. Enjoy. All right, so we're at the shop. I'm actually not gonna put the LS on the lift so that we could utilize the lift for other projects, but I'm gonna give you a quick synopsis of what the attack plan is. So right here, so what we're gonna do here is we planned on leaving these seat brackets, but because they are not level, this one is higher than this one, we're gonna cut them all out, make new brackets. I do have to take off this AC thing, basically goes back for rear lower AC, take off the amp, and then I routed a air chisel so that I can get up basically most of this sound deadening in areas that we're gonna weld to. Right now the plan is cut out with the plasma cutter this frame, all of the floor, basically from where I'm running my finger right here, cut all of this out all the way around, have a giant hole, and then we're gonna rerun frame from where it comes down. It actually goes kind of all the way, it goes up like this, so where it comes down, we're gonna attach the new frame that we got, the metal, and I'll show you that. It is 2x1 14 gauge, so it is pretty damn thick. We're gonna run it all the way down, attach it to the back seat, and then make cross member, all that stuff. And we also got sheet metal for the floors. So I'm gonna set you guys up. I'm gonna start getting to work and catch you in a bit. We plan on at least trying to have one side done. Maybe we'll get to both sides today, but we're not rushing anything. Just wanna do it right, got a lot going on. So let's get it. And it's update time. So I took the air hammer, as you guys saw in that quick little time lapse. Basically, all of this stuff right where my finger is, I'm gonna be cutting out kind of along this line roughly, and then all the way around. There is seam sealer on all of this, so I grabbed a chisel and I'm gonna start kind of, you know, chiseling this stuff off because that's where I'm gonna be cutting. And then I will probably grab a Sharpie or a marker, trace out where I'm gonna cut, grab the plasma cutter, go to town on this, and at that point there's no going back. I mean, I'm excited, I'm getting a little bit nervous, but once it's all said and done, it'll be fine. I think once it's actually cut out, I'll be able to see exactly how I want kind of the new structure to be built. I'm gonna get to town on getting the seam sealer out and then start cutting. And of course, the rain never fails to screw up a day planned for working on cars. Another update, I'm almost done plasma cutting. I had to do a bit more prep, but David found one of these wire wheels and this thing is doing way better than the stupid flapper disc. Basically just kind of cleaning everything up. Where I decided to cut is where I said before, basically right there where this frame matches up, kind of right where it starts to go up. And that's our level for where the floor is planning to be. I was gonna clean all this stuff up, but it's pretty much just gonna get dropped. So I did take note, there was like one tiny little body ground, I think it is, that was on this wiring harness, and I'll be sure to put that back in, making sure all the wires and stuff are staying away from the hot metal, because even if you're plasma cutting a few inches away, metal gets hot. So if you're doing anything along those lines, be careful because it will melt. Ty just pulled up, he's coming to get me because I gotta bring back my truck because we're leaving it here overnight. I'm gonna run home, grab the truck. I'm hungry, gonna grab some food, and we'll see how much we get done tonight. I mean, honestly, looking at it earlier, we're like, you know what? We'll knock out as much as we can, but you know, we kind of been taking it slow, the rain, all that stuff. Kind of like a learning process, of course, but that's what this video is here. I'm here to show you guys so you can make it easy if you do it yourself. And I'm back at the shop. Of course, it is still crappy weather out, and I'm afraid the rain is still gonna be coming. It's also getting later, so the sun's starting to go down. But I went back over everything with the pinch weld. I took the crowbar and basically started, you know, pushing away the piece of the floor that I cut out. Well, if you bring an air hammer over here, instead of going back over with the plasma cutter, put the air hammer in, and boom. So you can see that it's starting to actually spread the floor away. So that is good. I cut above, and then basically I'm taking off the floor from where the pinch welds are. It's gonna be hard to set it up because I've got stuff flying all over and I don't wanna screw up the camera. So I'm gonna try to get to spreading this before it gets too late. If I need to set up a floodlight or something, I will. I at least honestly want this side done, and I'll come first thing in the morning, start getting the other side, and then we'll start getting everything together. So I will let you know how much progress I get on this in the next hour or so, and we'll go from there. Hey, want me to do my little dance? And we are wrapping it up for the evening. It is been raining, kind of been working in the rain and stuff out here. Just put the car down. As you guys saw, I did finally get through that first floorboard. I just want to reiterate, this is my trial car. It's really the first car that I've went all out and done all this, so I know there is better ways, and as I go about cutting and doing all this stuff, I figure out ways in which if I were to do it again, I would. So that's also the whole point of this channel. I want to let you know how I'm doing it if you want to copy how I'm doing it, or give my 2 cents on a better way to do it. So I will show you guys what I'm talking about with the trans tunnel later, on top of leaving the car like this for tonight. I'm gonna wrap it up. It's getting late, gotta be here early in the morning. And yeah, if you guys haven't already, check out that last video of installing these super rare smoked clear tails. These things are so sick. I cannot wait to get some pictures and videos with this. I will catch you guys first thing in the morning. Later. And welcome back to day 2 of the LS400 Bippu floor and frame raise. As you guys just saw, we already get it started. The floor is out and super hype. That thing is actually way heavier than I thought. Now we can finally kind of see the entire car. But let me explain to you what we got going on. So we decided that racing from this part of the frame to this part of the frame is going to be probably the best way to keep structure, especially before we start cutting everything out and the entire car starts flexing. I grinded up some of this so I can take the cutter and basically cut all of this out. We're really gonna kind of raise the frame all the way here, right underneath the drive shaft, run a big steel piece, kind of like metal for structure, run it from here all the way through here to have somewhere hold, and that is going to be our starting point to basically go from there all the way down, structure it all the way into the existing frame. As I prep, I will bring you guys along and show you exactly what we got going on, but I'm gonna get back to starting to cut all this stuff up and we'll go from there. And finally done eating. It is a few hours later. I didn't want to show you guys too much because it was basically the same as yesterday. Cutting, ended up taking the Sawzall instead of the cutter, and it worked so much better having it on the lift. We'll come back here and show you what we got going on. I cut out the floor, basically went through the bottom, Sawzalled all the way around, and ended up, you know, just leaving the trans mount right here. Before I cut this side out, we wanted to make sure that there was still structural rigidity. So from here to here, we have one giant piece, basically a piece to keep the car all together. Coming over here, what I had to do is, of course, move the pedal, move everything out of the way so it didn't get chopped up and cut. And then parts like this, since this is as low as I'm gonna want to be, basically where the rocker is, anything that is lower than that, I had to cut off. So this frame part, basically cut that off. We're gonna be plating that, reinforcing that. Probably gonna run some reinforcement plates, or at least pieces, I mean, like one here and one here. Same with the other side. What we've been using is 2x1 14 gauge. This stuff is gonna be super strong, super sturdy. So I know this vlog has kind of been a lot of like, hey, this is what I did, showing it, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of hard, especially with the floors missing. I can't really put the camera somewhere up there. In here, it's kind of hard with people going in and out. Everybody's got something to do. So I've been up there inside, taking everything out, getting it ready, cutting it up, and figured I wouldn't bore you guys with it. I know this is gonna be a long vlog, as it is already, but I wanted to show you guys the process, and I think we are moving along pretty quick, at least like 75% done. I feel like this is the hard part, but I think now restructuring, reframing, putting the floor and all of that will be a little bit difficult, but we'll get it done, and of course bring you guys along for the ride. So I'm gonna wait, and we're gonna figure out how we're gonna run all the structure and go from there. Catch you in a bit. And as day 2 comes to an end, here the Lexus sits. So figured I'd run you through kind of everything we've done so far. We've got the floor laying on the floor. Almost tripped myself up saying that. Oh, as I say, I tripped myself up. But here we are. As I explained before, we've got the cross member basically as structure for when we cut out the floors. Coming over here, we've actually got plating all along the sides, because this is where the pinch welds match up. This is where we cut the floor all the way around. So not only did we bang and make sure that everything is flat surface behind, but then we also plated and welded it up for not only reinforced structure, but also so that we can weld straight to this, across, and this is going nowhere. This is basically structure on top of structure, welded to structure, so that is all going to be good. Make sure when you stop early before the actual trans mount. I made the mistake on this side of just going all in, cutting the entire thing. I actually did the plasma cutter while it was in the parking lot yesterday, so don't make that mistake. We are going to be making a new frame structure basically for the trans mount. Tomorrow I think we're gonna come back and make the frame structure. We're gonna reinforce on the trans tunnel as well as make the trans bracket mount. Today I had the stock seat in, I had the carpet in on the driver's side, I had a lot of stuff to move, so basically prepped all of that today and cleaned it up. Sawzalled this entire floor out. This side is a lot cleaner than the other side, but you know, everything's gonna work as it should. Everything's gonna be reinforced. Everything is going to be seam sealed at the end. The floor is gonna be sturdy and the frame is gonna be reinforced more than it was from factory. So with that being said, we will take it up tomorrow. I will continue to show you the process, and hopefully we'll have this thing done pretty soon. This is gonna be the end for day 2. Hope you guys are enjoying so far, and I will catch you tomorrow. Later. And welcome back to day 3. As you can see, we've got the LS still on the lift. Moved out some of the other pretty super sick projects so we could make some room. As I left off yesterday, I kind of showed you what we had done. I think what we're gonna start with is I gotta grab the trans jack holder. I'm gonna actually take off the entire bracket, bring the transmission down just a little bit, see if I can make a little bit more room in the trans tunnel. We want to lift it just a little bit to give more clearance for the trans pan, and then we'll make the trans bracket, and then we will start to make the actual frame. Let me get started on this. I'm gonna start taking stuff apart, and then if I make any progress actually making some room up there, I will show you how and what I did. Let's get it. So quick intermission, we are trying to figure out how high we can go with this puck, basically getting the trans as high as possible. So you can raise the floor as much as you want, but whatever hangs down is what's gonna hit first, and that is the pan. So as you can see right now, we're making clearance. The top of this bar is gonna be where the floor is gonna be running. So we just want as much possible. We've got it lifted up. We had it down. We took the air hammer and kind of banging out the trans tunnel just a little bit. Once we get that done, we'll bring it back and I'll show you how it looks. It is about 5:30. We've been grinding all day. Basically, all we've been doing today has been figuring out the structure, cleaning it up, and trying to get all of the structure actually finished. So we've got it all done in the front. We've got it running down the middle, side to side, side to side, right there. Got to finish it up, as well as right here where the part of the J frame comes down. I actually shaved it off. It used to be another 3-4 inches down. I cut all of that off so that we could plate it, basically leaving the pinch welds and the rockers to be the lowest thing on the car. As we're wrapping up the evening, figured I'd show you what we got done on day 3. A frame now. We've got, like I explained, both of the cross members going down, meeting with the entire frame brace on top of the rear frame brace. We did move, like I mentioned before, the trans up a lot higher. We basically kind of not tubbed, but we took an air hammer where the puck is of the drive shaft, cleared all of that out so we could raise it super high. The frame is now higher. Actually, the pan is now pretty much level with the frame, and that's still insanely low. So we've got everything closed off, welded off, as well as the structuring pretty much done. Super hyped on how this build is coming out so far. I knew it would be a lot of work. I spent months and months researching on, you know, best way to do it, how other people in Japan are doing it, talking to people out there using Google Translate on top of kind of just R&D like I've done almost everything else. Just go for it and, you know, figure stuff out as you're cutting and welding and placing stuff. So with that being said, we are wrapping up tonight. I will catch you guys in the morning. Later. And we are back. I currently am on the way to the shop. Just got some Dunkin', and the sun is now coming up. Once the floor is in and kind of all the surface and stuff is cleaned up, we'll be able to weld it in and then go from there. So of course you guys will be brought along, set the camera up and all that stuff, and let's get it. Sheesh. And just a little while later, we are done with the actual structure. So last night we kind of left it off with some end caps that we needed to make, some little pieces that we need to seal up and make some little plates. So that's what I'm going to show you guys right now. As you can see on the inside, basically the parts that aren't going completely through, let me focus that for you. The parts that aren't going completely through, we capped off. This thing is, we were actually doing pull-ups on this earlier because you know, that's how rigid and, you know, structure it is. What we did, cleaned up everything underneath on the actual old frame rail, made little tiny pieces to kind of cover up the little holes, welded up some of the seams. We did that here. This was the side that I plasma cut. If you didn't hear what I said earlier, basically I kind of wish I didn't do this just because of how ugly it was compared to how pretty this side actually was. Figured I'd show you guys the current progress. We've got one side actually in, sturdied up, and all formed. The other side I'm actually making a template right now. I've got some little stuff marked because of course this template isn't going to be directly perfect, but I'm going to make it as good as possible, just like we did the other side. Cut it up, and then we will be able to form and drop it in. So the other side is, driver's side is coming along super nice. I'm super hyped on that. Now it's just basically time to get this back in. Everything is welded underneath on that side. Let me go around. From the bottom, you can tell everything is welded up, basically all the way to the front. We are gonna get rid of this tiny little overhang that's part of the old trans tunnel. Basically, after we made the mounts and stuff, that was just the excess, just to make sure that we had stuff to weld to. Same with the other side, but as you can see, I've got the cardboard flooring in, and once I cut that out, we're gonna drop it in, just like this side, weld it all up, and then the last thing will be seam sealer and all that good stuff. So I will catch up with you in a little bit. It's been probably 3 hours, 2 hours probably since I updated the vlog, but you know, this stuff takes time. So let's get it. And after a long day's work, basically just kind of buttoning everything up, cutting, trimming, all that stuff just to make it, you know, fit nicely. Everything was tacked up and then welded up. The last 2 steps is seam sealer. So I've got the seam sealer right here. Gray seam sealer. Doesn't have to be gray, but make sure you don't get silicone. Every auto parts store that I called to ask, do you have seam sealer in stock? Every single one of them said yes, stopped at 5, and all of them gave me silicone. Do not get silicone. It is not for filling stuff like this. It is seam sealer. You want to block off all of the moisture, like I'm about to show you. We've got all of the places that could potentially get inside or rust or, you know, anything of that sort, seam sealed off. The next thing and last thing that we are going to do is add this Rust-Oleum undercoating. It's a rubberized, black rubberized undercoating, basically to protect all of this metal, as well as help with a little bit of the sound vibration. One thing that we thought that we, you know, maybe could do, or if we were to do it on a customer's car, is basically also put a sheet underneath and then fill it with like foam insulation. Not only would it help with noise, but I mean, that stuff gets rock solid. So I mean, that's another kind of solid undercoating with a flat sheet. But this allows you to see all of the bracing and structure that we made on top of all of the flooring, etc. Really quick before we dip out, figured I'd show you guys the finished underside project. This is after the rubberized black coating. Yes, it looks a little bit brown, but you're not going to see it. Basically, it's a rubber protective coating to seal, to really just not rust, not any of that stuff. Takes only like 5 minutes to put on. We only used 2 cans, but we put it on pretty thick. What you want to do is put a light coat first and then put a heavy coat. Yeah, look who's showing up. That's Steven. But yeah, you want to put a light coat first and then go heavy after. Make sure you cover up all of basically any crevice, any crack, any weld, anything that can get through. So again, this is going to be the end of tonight's vlog, and we'll catch you tomorrow for putting the seat in and finishes touch. Later. And I know it seems like I teleported, but I actually just got done with the LS, drove from the shop, brought the truck back home, and Steven is coming in super clutch on actually coming to pick me up and bring me to the shop. So we had some other people come over to the shop, and then we ended up eating food and had a bunch of stuff, and everybody was just tired. So I really didn't want to inconvenience anybody else by setting up the camera, different angles and all that. It was really just making brackets, which I will show you guys, and then drilling in and then bolting the new seat to the floor. But we had some problems that I will discuss with actually some of the movement of the seat, and just a bunch of other little stuff that I will go over probably in the morning. What I'm gonna do is ride with Steven, go pick up the LS, drive it back home, make sure everything's good, hopefully make it home tomorrow after work. I will give you guys the rundown and finish up the video. I know it's been like 5-6 day run on video of small parts, but you know, it's, you know, one day of cutting everything out, and I don't want to put, you know, 5 hours of cutting, you know, in time lapse, and then the next day's prep work and grinding and shaping and all that stuff. So I really do want to do this on a bunch of different platforms, do a bunch of VIP, Bippu, you know, unusual type stuff, not even just cars, but trucks and old stuff. And I got a lot planned, so don't worry. Hopefully this video did actually help you with a lot of stuff. Also, my DMs are always open. If you want to hit me up on IG, I answer as many people as I can on the daily. If I don't get to you that day, then I'm going to try to get to you the next one. But I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to wait for Steven to come pick me up, and we'll go get the Lexus. What are you doing? And these are some decent speed bumps too. Barely touched. Look at that. And we have made it home safe and sound. I am about to go hit the sack. I'm exhausted and got work in the morning, but here she lays, and then tomorrow I will show you all of the bracket and everything else that we did today, as well as kind of the plan going forward and everything else. I don't want to drown out the end of the video because I know you guys like to not watch it, but yeah, I'll kind of go over the finishing touches, the plan, and whatever else I can throw in there. So I will catch you guys in the morning, actually in the afternoon once I get home. Later. And it is the next day. I just got home, so I figured I would bring you guys over to the Lexus and show you the brackets and everything that we made yesterday. So coming inside the car, yes, I didn't spray the coating. I will do that probably later today or tomorrow after I take the seat out and stuff. I just have got to edit this video and get some other stuff done. But right here, we actually reverse bolted from the bottom. This is 14 gauge steel sheet, so it is pretty thick. We double washered it on the bottom and the top. Basically drilled through there and bolted it on, and then on the back, so it will be a little bit hard to see just because this seat motor kind of is to crap. I usually just have it back all the way, so I don't want to keep moving it back and forth. Sometimes it gets stuck. But what we did down there was we took the bracket and the beam that runs directly across side to side, we ended up drilling a hole through the bracket, through that actual beam, the first part, since it is square tubing, and then basically ran a tap all the way through. We used a little bit bigger bolts just to make sure that those would stay in, but those are drilled and tapped and are super strong. So the whole seat, I mean, the only thing that moves is this top part. I drove home and it felt super fine yesterday. I didn't want to weld these brackets in just because I don't know if I'm going to keep this stock seat or if I'm going to do a different seat or redo the interior and all that stuff. So that is the gist of the seat brackets, and I'll show you guys real quick inside. Yeah, I mean, this is not quite the finished product. I will be spraying this in a few days, but not before the video is up and edited. I still have to plug the stock amp back in, and I don't know, probably end up just keeping it on the floor or something with a weight on it just so that my radio can work. The plugs for that seat still works, on top of yeah, there's really not much I have to plug back in. So I do just want to say thank you if you have stayed this far into the video. I know it's kind of been a run-on video. I know it hasn't been too much, you know, how to, but I still went through every step and showed you kind of the process on everything we did. It's also, I mean, the Lexus is still low right now, or I'd show you underneath. I actually have to go get in the meeting in a minute, or I would throw it up in the air, but sun is going down and I really just want to get this video out to you guys. So again, I apologize for, I don't know, I feel like I went super in-depth on it, but not as in-depth as a series would have been. I know I mentioned it before. Down the road, I will do a series on actually building this step by step so that you can follow every exact thing that I'm doing, but that will be once the channel starts to grow. So I hope you guys have stayed this long. If not, I mean, you won't be seeing this, but if you did, throw a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I hope you guys are enjoying this Lexus content because this is one of the last big things that I had to do before I can get all the fenders done. Make sure that if I got to find a clean fender or roll them or fix a little bit of body work, end up doing paint, clean headlights, do an interior setup. I've still got some suspension stuff to change around and some other big project type stuff to do on the Lexus. So of course you guys will see that as well. But now the lowest thing on the car is the pinch welds. I looked underneath earlier with a flashlight last night when I got home, and you cannot see a single thing underneath the car. Frame is tucked up, floor is tucked up, everything is tucked up, and even the speed bumps going into the shop, I went over them yesterday and didn't scrape a single thing, which is actually super sick because once the car is basically pinch welds on the ground, driving, as long as the road's not terrible, I won't be scraping a single thing, which is actually pretty sick, being that it's going to be a lot lower. So again, for the 100,000th time, thank you for watching, thank you for staying along and supporting this channel. Throw a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.